Hello guys, it is me again, it's HorrorFan34 and welcome back to another video. This is going to be another listing video where I do a top whatever. And I figure I'd do something a little bit of a different list. And I don't know if this list will be going into parts or things like that, like listing off all these movies for this type of category, but I figured I would do my top 20 favorite horror films from the 2000s, and that's ranging from 2000 all the way until 2009, because 2010 onwards and now is the 2010s. So this is just my favorite horror films from the 2000s, ranging from 2000 to 2009. And I couldn't pick I couldn't pick just 10 movies. I had to pick 20 because this was a very tough list to make. There were some really good films that came out that were horror films in the 2000s and things like that. I own most of these on DVD, but like I said before, the ones that were easy to get to in my closet, I just pulled those out because like some of the other ones are kind of a pain. But I figured I read off the list right here, as always. So enough with me rambling on. Let's get on to my top 20 favorite horror films from the 2000s. Now, like I said before, this might go into a few parts, but we shall see. But, okay, let's see. Okay, we're ready. Coming in at number 20 would be American Psycho with Christian Bale. I say without a doubt, outside of his performance as Batman, this is probably my favorite Christian Bale performance that isn't Batman, because I really enjoy him as Batman in the Dark Knight trilogy, but outside of the Batman universe that he was in, this is probably my favorite performance of his. I mean, him as Patrick Bates is just so well done, you know. Christine, don't just look at it, eat it! You know, it's just... the way that Christian Bale portrays Patrick Bateman? Patrick Bateman. I think I might be getting these names wrong. Excuse me for a second. Let me just look up on IMDb real quick. And maybe, let me just make sure I'm getting this name right, because if I don't, then it like Patrick Bateman. Sorry, not Bates. Bateman. Sorry. Yeah. So it was Bateman. But Patrick Bateman is such a great character, and Christian Bale played it very, very well. You have also great supporting characters like Reese Witherspoon and things like that. But it's just a great movie. Very great psychological horror film, and Christian Bale just pulls off the role of Patrick Bateman so well. That's why it's my number 20. Coming in at number 19 would be Session 9, which is basically like a haunted, kind of like a ghost, kind of like setting about a bunch of people in like an old abandoned building they're about to knock down, and they start hearing things. Really creepy film. I really like the cast. You know, David Caruso, among other ones in there as well. I mean, Session 9 I really do enjoy. It's a really nice little ghost story, kind of like, or ghost like haunting kind of like movie. Not a ghost story, but like a ghost kind of like haunting movie. It's a really, really well done film. And it's one of the few horror films where you don't really see a whole lot of things. It's kind of implied, and not a whole lot jumps out at you. It's a really creepy film, and I really do enjoy Session 9. Coming in at number 18 would be Darkness Falls. This is the horror film about the Tooth Fairy. Really enjoyed this one as well. It's from the same director that went on to do Battle Los Angeles, the new Ninja Turtles movie. Jonathan Liebesman, I believe his name is. I think he also went on to do Texas Chainsaw The Beginning, among other stuff as well. I think he's been a part of a lot of movies too, Jonathan Liebesman. But Darkness Falls I always really enjoyed. It's a good horror film about the Tooth Fairy and things like that. I really enjoyed the film. Can't say much more about Darkness Falls. Coming in at number 17 would be Satan's Playground, which is kind of an unknown horror film that I don't think many people know about or even talk about. But this is a really cool film about the Jersey Devil, and has a really great ensemble genre cast members of horror films. You have Felissa Rose from Sleepaway Camp, You have Ellen Sandwise from The Evil Dead, Edwin Neal, the crazed hitchhiker from the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Ron Milkey, who was in Friday the 13th. This is a really creepy film where it's kind of similar to, it's kind of like a House of a Thousand Corpses vibe, but a kind of a creepier vibe. About the Jersey Devil, about this family breaking down in the middle of the woods, and they end up at this crazed house, and the Jersey Devil's out there, and things like that. It's a really creepy film that if you haven't seen it yet, and you like those genre cast members in the cast, I think it's really worth a look. It's a really cool film. It's by far the best film I saw dealing with the Jersey Devil. Coming in at number 16 would be Final Destination, the first one. This is the one where a bunch of kids are on a plane, and the one guy has a premonition that the plane is going to explode and crash, and he wakes up in the premonition, and then he gets a few of them kicked off, and death comes after them because death feels cheated. Really unique idea for a movie about death coming after people, and it's got a really nice solid cast. Devon Sawa, Ali Lauder, even Sean William Scott, which I don't know if it was around the same time he did American Pie or before American Pie. It was around that time, but really well done. Supernatural kind of like horror film about death coming after people. And I do really enjoy Final Destination 2. That almost made the list for me, but Final Destination 1's always been my favorite one. It's just a really good one. I consider it one of the classic horror films that came out during the 2000s. It's a really well done flick. Coming in at number 15 is, of course, Jeepers Creepers. This is the one with Gina Phillips and Justin Long. Really enjoyed this film as well. The sequel's pretty good as well. I was not a fan of Part 3, but I enjoyed the first two Jeepers Creepers. Just enjoy this film a lot. I love the whole creeper character and all that stuff. And this is a really nice release from Scream Factory. They really packed this up with a lot of features. A brand new commentary track, a new documentary, brand new interviews, including all the old features from the old DVD. But I don't think many people need to know much more about Jeepers Creepers. It's a good one. I enjoyed the first Jeepers Creepers. Let's see. Okay. Number 14 is a really unknown, kind of like one of the more underrated films that came out during the 2000s. A really good ghost story kind of like film. That's Dead End. Dead End is a film that I always really enjoyed. This film. It's a really creepy kind of like film as well, where you have basically Ray Weiss and Lin Shaye, and basically it's Christmas Eve, and they get into this accident and on this road, and they seem all right, and they keep driving on the road, and the road never seems to end. It just keeps going and going and going. They keep going back to the same things again. It's basically like a time loop. Everything keeps looping again and again. They can't seem to get off the road, and love this film a lot. It's a really creepy film. Even this one website here on the back says Real White Knuckle Fear, and it's a really terrifying film. It's a really good ghost story kind of like film. It's really creepy, really well done. Kind of flew under the radar in 2000s. Really enjoyed Dead End. Yeah, I'm probably going to have to split into part 2 here soon. But, coming in at number 13 is Slither. Slither is a film that I want to review at some point. Slither, this is just a really great throwback to the old 50s B movies. Like a kind of like film that you would have saw back in like the 50s, like those cheesy B flick horror films, where basically this thing comes down from space and it gets into Michael Rooker's body, and Michael Rooker is married to Elizabeth Banks in the film, and Michael Rooker ends up turning into this really disgusting creature, and all these slugs are going inside people's mouths, and they become infected, and really, really cool stuff. It has a really cool cast, too. Not only do you have Elizabeth Banks and Michael Rooker, but you also have Nathan Fillion, Greg Henry. Really, really well done film. I always really enjoyed this film. I think it has a big cult following nowadays. It deserves it. It's a really, really fun B-movie, kind of like horror film that you would have seen back in the day. Okay, I'll probably tell maybe one or two more, and then I'll cut for part 2. Coming in at number 12 would be The Eye, not the remake with Jessica Alba. This is the original. I think it's a Japanese horror film from, I believe, 2002. This is the original Eye. This is one of those films that I've only seen a few times. I love The Eye, but it's really the reason why I've only seen it so many times because it just creeps me out so bad. I mean, it's really a horror film that's really effective, and it's really one of the few horror films that I've seen that really creeped me out and got under my skin. You know, it's beautifully shot. It's got great scares. It's got fantastic visuals. It's one of the best, like, creepy horror films that I've ever seen ever. I mean, I love The Eye so much. I mean, if you haven't seen the original Eye, definitely go watch the original Eye. Don't even bother with the remake with Jessica Alba. That was not a good remake. It was cut down to PG-13. Was not a fan of the remake. The original Eye is far better. It's a really well done film. I mean, and be prepared to get creeped out by it as well, because it certainly creeped me out quite a bit. I'll say one more here, then I'll do the top 10 in the final part, because I don't think the top 10 is going to take that long. But the end part 1 here, number 11 would be Death Watch. Another underrated one that kind of flew under the radar in the 2000s, where it basically takes place in World War II, about these army soldiers trying to hide out from the enemies. It's a really good ghost story, really creepy atmosphere with all these soldiers and with all the ghost story, and it's a really solid cast. You have Jamie Bell, Andy Serkis. It's such a well done film. It's a really nice little ghost story. I don't want to spoil a whole lot about Death Watch. I mean, if you enjoy ghost story movies, it kind of has like that feeling of like The Fog and things like that. Well, probably not that far, but it's kind of like got that creepy atmosphere vibe. I really would recommend you giving it a watch. Really enjoyed Death Watch. So I'm going to cut here for part 1, and I will see you guys in part 2, which will hopefully be the final part.